Welcome to Strange Bedfellows, a Julian Fellowes fan cast. I'm Kirt Graves.
And I'm Stefanie Jochman-Deepak. Today, we are discussing the 5th episode of Downton Abbey Season 2.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are, halfway through our least favorite season.
At least for now.
Yeah.
We'll see what a rewatch gets us later.
Exactly. Well, that's true. That's so true. We could have different opinions by the time this whole experiment is over.
Yes.
But I will say, like, this was another episode that just felt like it went on forever.
Yeah. And
like, I think I watched it over 3 different sittings because I kept getting like so antsy. I was like, I got to get up and do something else. Like, this episode just keeps going and going.
Well, what was interesting is this one, I feel like other episodes, it's barely been like clip, plot. And the plot slows a bit. And I feel like there are fewer storylines to keep track of in this episode. But what is there is drawn out. And we'll get into this, but probably appropriately so. But yeah, it feels a little long.
It felt a little long. So, yeah. But what's never long is our 60-second recap. 60 seconds or thereabouts.
Yes, thereabouts.
We're not timing it.
No.
It'd be crazy.
Listeners, if you have been, well, good on you, but we're not paying attention.
Yeah. All right, I'm ready. Hit me with it.
All right. Downton Village News. Wedding banns. The Honorable Lord Lieutenant Grantham and Mr. Albert Mason announced the marriage of Miss Daisy Robinson, employee of Lord Grantham, and Mr. William Mason, son of Mr. Mason Sr. The couple were wed at Downton Abbey in a small service attended by Mr. Mason and members of the Crawley family. Editor's note. The wedding marked a bittersweet day at Downton Abbey. Mr. Mason, recently returned from the front, delivered his vows from what would become his deathbed. The late Mr. Mason had suffered grave injuries at the Battle of Amiens while saving the life of Captain Matthew Crawley. Mr. Crawley continues to convalesce near Downton, where he is being cared for around the clock by Dr. Clarkson and his cousins Mary and Sybil. An unnamed source reports that Mr. Crawley is paralyzed. Mr. Crawley's mother, Isabel, who had been serving the army in France, has returned to care for her son.
Yeah, it is a bittersweet episode in a lot of ways.
It's a grim one.
Yeah.
In many ways, or go ahead.
No, well, I was going to say, like, what do you want to talk about first? Like, which grim element would you like to go to first?
Yeah, so I mean, we'll get into this in the next episode, but we are nearing the end of the war, and so this feels like a mid-season penultimate episode, right?
Yeah.
If we broke this season into 2 seasons, this is sort of your climax of the first season, I think. So yeah, a lot of drama, a lot of grimness. I mean, I think we start with Matthew and William because that's where the episode begins, right? We're going over the wall.
Another Saving Private Ryan scene from the creators of Downton Abbey.
Yeah, we open with the rat scurrying on the wall. Their attempt at realism as they go over, and Matthew and William are both struck and injured. And in the midst, we kind of get this battle sequence with intermittent premonitions.
Yes.
So
that was, it was interesting that we had a little bit of mysticism here in Downton Abbey. I don't like, obviously we've talked many times about how, like, this is not a series of episodes I rewatch often.
No.
But that part did strike me for probably the first time where I was like, they both have these little mystic moments.
Yeah, I don't think I clocked it or remembered it.
By the way, we're talking about Daisy and Mary.
Yes. Yeah, so Daisy, like we see the fighting, and then suddenly Daisy has a shiver and says, someone walked over my grave. And then we go back to the fighting, and then we get to Mary, and she, I think, drops something.
She drops her tea.
Yeah.
And says that she suddenly got very cold.
Yeah. So they have these premonitions, and I had totally forgotten about that sequence. And so it makes... stuff that happens in the Christmas special has an even nicer circularity.
Yeah.
More on that later.
Yeah. I wonder if there is anybody listening to this podcast who is like, I'm watching Downton Abbey for the first time and I'm going to listen along with Kirt and Stefanie. So all right, we'll try to be conscious of like too many spoilers ahead of time. But
listener, if you are listening for the first time, please tell us. Like, we'd love to hear your thoughts on
Downton Abbey the first time through. It's been a long time since either of us had a first time through with Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. The way that struck me this time. Because we do pretty quickly move into the minutia of them returning and their medical prognoses.
Needs, yeah.
And it's not great for either of them.
No. And so Violet pulls strings to really bring both of them to Downton, make some calls to ensure that they're both there. And then eventually moves William into the house because it's pretty clear he's not going to survive this. Yeah. So they want to make him as comfortable.
If there are moments of levity in this episode, it is because Violet is putting her plans in motion and nothing will stop her.
Yeah.
And it starts with Dr. Clarkson. Later, we have an encounter with Reverend Travis.
Yes.
It is good. She's bringing the funny, and there's not a ton of it, but it's there with her.
Yeah, she's bringing the funny and bringing the like beauty and gravity too. Because at Daisy and William's wedding, you know, she is both comic relief and this real bit of sweetness.
Yeah. I do. One of the quotes I pulled from this episode was her leaving her meeting with Dr. Clarkson, where she has requested that William be able to come to Downton Abbey to convalesce, and you know it's for officers, and he's not that. Yeah, and she walks out the door. It always happens when you give these little people power. It goes to their heads like strong drink.
Like, that's a good line.
Jeez, it was like, speak your mind, Violet. Jeez.
Dr. Clarkson's just little people.
Yeah, the little people. Please don't be afraid to tell us what you're really thinking there.
Yeah,
Dowager Countess. Yeah.
Yes.
And of course, like that's been the line he's had to toe this whole time with the family. It's like, great that you're being generous and allowing us to do this in your home, but like the military has rules and regulations, and I'm not high enough to be able to just break those rules and regulations.
Right. Fortunately,
Violet has a friend, has a cousin, has a nephew that she can call and be like, who do we know? We're fixing this.
Yeah. A part of me is satisfied that it takes some extra hoops for her to jump through. I do like the situations in which somewhere it's demonstrated that money can't get you everything. I mean, it still has in some ways here, but I appreciate that there are
at least
barriers.
It took a little bit of effort. At least in wartime, it takes a little bit of effort.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, maybe should we just stick with Daisy and William for now?
Yeah.
And just kind of tie up their storyline, because I once again find myself feeling so bad for Daisy.
I thought about you the whole time I watched this episode. I was like, here's the culmination of the storyline you really don't like.
Well, I certainly... It's not that I don't like the storyline, because I do think it's compelling television. But like for the character of Daisy, I hate it, because it's like this poor girl, despite knowing in her gut what she feels is the right thing to do, she keeps getting talked into, perhaps even bullied into doing something that she thinks she feels is wrong and bad and unfair to William.
Yeah.
Like her concern is so centered around him and not wanting to mislead him and not wanting to let him die not knowing the truth. And everybody else is like, just let him die being happy, which I suppose has some merit as an argument as well. But that argument has everything to do with William and nothing to do with Daisy. And I want all these people around Daisy to be thinking about her too. Cause like he will die, but she has to live with it.
Mm-hmm. And she has to live with his not knowing and her knowing. And I mean, that's a really difficult truth for her to manage.
And what is the truth? The truth is that she does care for him and love him, but it's not in that way.
Right.
And so, like, would it have been so terrible to sit at his bedside and hold his hand and say, I do love you, not as a wife, but I am here, I am with you. And then maybe he could have said, I understand, but let's get you those benefits anyways, girl.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
William is such and I mean this in the most positive way, he is such a simple soul that I wonder if he just would not have understood or accepted that explanation from her. I think for him...
Maybe not, but you know what? He only had to live with it for a few more hours.
I know, but he doesn't know that, and
I think he knew that. By the time he's proposing that she gets the benefits when he dies, like, he knows.
Yeah.
He knows.
Good point.
You know?
But I think for him, a wedding is a way of him having some kind of legacy. Like, he knows there aren't many opportunities for him to be publicly, and maybe he doesn't want the public, but just like when you think about who's left behind and who's going to remember you, and here's one way of him ensuring someone else will be connected to him beyond his father, who, you know, won't live as long as Daisy will.
No. I don't know. I hate it for Daisy. I get it for William. Too. I hate it for Daisy.
Same. It's really tough, and really tough to watch this time around. I think first time through, it felt like this, you know, bittersweet wartime storyline. And I think a part of me had been excited about the possibility of the two of them in the first season because his crush on her was so sweet. But second time through, really uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, I think it's not fair to William's dad. And like, all's well that ends well. We know what's coming.
Yeah. Yeah, in the moment, it's maybe not fair to him, but in the long run, this ends up being a real gift.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I think Julian Fellowes does Daisy right in the series. Yes. But I just hate this for her. I hate this for her. And she's always being put in the situation where she has to do something or say something or be the tattletale or the scapegoat. And it's just like, this poor girl. You know she's not getting paid enough.
No.
I don't. So, yeah. She goes through with it.
Yep.
She bites her tongue. She marries William. She stays by his side as he does at the very end of the episode. We see him taking his last breath.
Yeah.
And they have the wedding. We see Violet getting choked up and then saying, I have a cold. Because she can't acknowledge human emotion.
Right.
You know, it really was. You know what else struck me about this episode is the lengths that Violet went to make this happen for William.
Yeah.
And it's just like, there must be so much to that relationship with the Masons that we don't ever really get to know for her to show that level of care and that like stick to itness in getting him home. Because otherwise, I just don't see Violet as the type of person who cares a lot about what happens to like the second footman.
Yeah. But I mean, she is once you're in her good graces, she is very loyal. And I think she really appreciates a servant who conducts themselves as professionally and sincerely as he did. But you're right. I think there must be a longer connection to his family because he was fairly new at Downton, right?
Yeah.
Like it was.
Yeah. She didn't even live in the house.
Yeah.
While he was working there.
And it might also be, she has referred back to previous conflicts that she's lived through. So I think maybe there's some element of nostalgia and sort of a younger Violet who lived through these troubling times, and her survival instinct, her nurturing instinct that may have popped up in those earlier moments comes back here. You know, she was the one advocating for Sybil becoming a nurse, and she saw the practicality of it. So I think when the chips are down, Violet is somebody who pulls her weight and sees the value of helping where one can help.
Yeah. Well, it certainly puts into practice her statement from one of the previous episodes where like she doesn't overlook the little people.
Yeah.
When she tries to make the comparison with Carson, like we always danced at the servants' ball, and like I don't hold my nose up at people, and it's like this is sort of an example of how that's true. If you really did pay attention to William and how he existed in the household, even though you weren't living there, you wouldn't have known him that well.
Yeah,
it's something.
Yeah, the less, I guess, the more cynical take is like, here's a way to very, very publicly and very splashily contribute or look like you're doing good. But I think Maggie Smith plays this really sincerely.
I agree. This is not you're making the argument that what else does she have to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. She gets a bee in her bonnet about this thing and she goes for it. That honestly might be the most realistic explanation for why she cares so much. It's not even about William. It's just that like, well, I was told no and now I've got it.
Yeah.
Now I have to do it.
Right.
So, yeah, but she does. And I mean, as the series goes on, we will of course see many more softer sides of Violet. I just, this time around, I was like, wow, she really cares about this person that like, she would have barely known.
Yeah. And I guess a nice transition then if we're thinking about William and Matthew and that plot line. So if we want to shift to Matthew, like we see this steeliness in Violet and this willingness to help. And then we see that thread of Violet that runs through Mary really coming out in the way that she cares for Matthew. We see that thread of Violet, Sybil's the nurse, but Mary is there at Matthew's bedside, seeing like all the fluids, all of the worst parts of
the gruesome, bloody details.
Yeah, she sees it all. They keep Lavinia from a lot of it, but she is there to witness it all. And you can tell he's so comfortable with her because he allows her to see it. Like he's vulnerable with her because he can't be vulnerable with anybody else.
Yeah. Mary really shows her mettle. Well, she does and she doesn't, right? Like she has these wonderful, like she insists upon being there for Matthew.
Yes.
Dr. Clarkson advises her to leave because it won't be pretty. And she's like, I'm not the type of person to back off.
Yeah.
I'm not much good at hanging back, I'm afraid, is what she says.
Oh, good.
But then when it comes to Carlisle.
I mean, Carlisle's awful.
Yeah.
Just hands down. Where are you going with this Carlisle observation? Keep going.
It's more. I guess it's more an episode or conversation for the next episode.
Okay.
But for someone as headstrong and sure of herself as Mary is in this context, when she is with Richard Carlisle, I do feel like she allows herself for a time to not be as strong as we know she is.
Yeah. And I mean, again, this is maybe more of a conversation for next episode, but I think that has a lot to do with him and we can get into him as an abusive personality. And so we see a normally headstrong character.
What fun to look forward to in our next episode. We can talk about how Richard Carlisle is an abusive personality.
Folks, this season is rough.
It's coming.
Yeah. They leaned fully into the drama and set the comedy aside.
Agreed. And so we alluded to this, I think, but say it outright. So Matthew has, they believe, transected his spine, whatever that means in the context of the medical knowledge they had at this time. And Dr. Clarkson is fairly sure that means he has no sensation below that point in his spine, which includes like the lower part of his torso down. And he will never walk again. And as he pulls Robert aside to tell him, because they love to have conversations about how procreation works, these two guys.
Yes, they do.
They love to talk about it. He is like, well, there's some other things that can't work if he's transected from that part of the spine down, and that means no future heirs for Downton.
Yeah. Major seriousness. And so that's a difficult truth that that Matthew and Lavinia have to face. And so Matthew makes the decision to send Lavinia away.
Yep.
There's no future with me. To which Lavinia says, I'll die if I can't be with him. Mm-hmm. But he's in the point of his recovery and really his own grief, where he feels like a burden to everyone and doesn't want to burden her with himself. And
which is so Matthew.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Matthew, and maybe so traditionally masculine in this period, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, certainly in this period of time, the man had more say.
Yeah.
So he certainly felt the right to make that decision for the both of them and to disregard Lavinia's feelings in the moment as simply, hysteria.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're not thinking this through. You don't understand what it means. I'm sending you away for your own good. Mm-hmm. Which I think he genuinely believes.
Yeah. No, I think he does. He sees her as this young, agile woman, and in his state of mind at the moment, wondering, how can I be someone who makes her happy? At the same time, I don't think he's aware of all that Lavinia did with Carlisle, and that she's made of stronger stuff than he gives her credit for, and to be frankly, that I give her credit for.
Yeah.
Or that I gave her credit for the first time I watched.
Yeah,
I want her to be this weakling, and she really isn't.
My impression of her is she was kind of a dud.
Yeah.
the first time around.
Same.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that impression is changing too much, especially not in this episode.
No, yeah. So she eventually, she departs and seems to be out of his life, at least for the moment.
Yeah. And a lovely little moment towards the end of the episode, too, that revolves around Matthew is the return of Isabel after she has gone to France to be a nurse on the front. Word has gotten to her that Matthew is injured and is back at the hospital, and she comes back. And there's this beautiful scene where she approaches the bed, and Matthew sees her. Dan Stevens sees her. And I think he maybe says like mother or something, but it's not much.
No.
But he tells us so much with his eyes. Tears are welling, his chin is shaking. Like, we can see how much it means to him to have her there. We see him revert to his childlike state, where he just needs his mother to care for him. And there is a sense of home and safety that is finally able to happen. And he can kind of let go and break down a little bit because she is there. And then we see her response, which is to smile and be like the caretaker that she is. It's so lovely. I mean, almost nothing is said between these two. I think there's a couple words of dialogue, but it's all in these two actors' fantastic performances and the show letting that happen.
It's the most beautiful moment of the episode by far. It's it's that I wrote that one down, that it's just so striking. And you see how much he's been holding himself together until, I mean, to some extent he's vulnerable with Mary, but he's still been putting on a brave face even with her. And now he can just let it go and let it out. And Dan Stevens gives a phenomenal performance there.
Yeah. It's interesting because with Mary, I think he's unfiltered in his thoughts. Yeah. But it's not until Isabel gets there that he feels he can be unfiltered with his feelings.
Well said.
Yeah. So that's what's going on with Matthew.
Yeah.
Grim. So grim.
Go ahead.
I was going to say another grim character enters the chat. We have the new maid, Jane.
Yeah.
Poor Jane, looking for a job because her husband was killed at the front and she's a single mom. And that's enough to make even the lovely people at Downton kind of doubt her capability of doing this job. And like Mrs. Hughes is like, I don't know. Do you think you can handle it? And I'll have to check with Carson. And then Carson's like, I don't know. I'll have to check with, the Earl. Like, cause, oh God, a mom? I don't know. It's so grim. The whole thing is so grim and so sad.
And contrast her, although I think this will come up next episode, but so we have this, war widow, single mother starting the job as the maid, and she is replacing Ethel, who was dismissed after she had been having the affair with the officer. And she too now has become a mother. We can see time flew. So she was pregnant at the end of the last episode. She has now had the baby in this episode. And Mrs. Hughes is going to see her and bringing her sort of leftovers from the house. The
timing of it all is a little like, I'm sure they have it all worked out, but like I never did figure out what time period episode 4 was, but I think it followed like immediately after episode 3, which would make it like summer of 1917.
Yes.
Because episode 3 was July of 1917. And episode 5 is August of 1918.
Yes.
Which makes sense based on the fact that she would have had the child. The child looks like it's not
several months old.
It's not fresh out of the oven anymore.
Yes.
So that makes sense that about a year has passed.
So we're really now seeing the effects of the war in these two women's lives. And this new housemaid, once she begins working, seems to attract Robert's attention. First, just out of curiosity and pleasantries, but we will see this sort of growing and expanding.
Yeah. Well, and also I think, just she doesn't know the house, so she walks into the wrong room.
Yeah.
And, it's a chance encounter.
Yes.
So, but of course, Robert knows of her because he had to approve,
right?
Of her working there. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Then we do see more about Ethel. We see Mrs. Hughes is breaking the rules.
Yeah. She's bringing her supplies.
Yeah. I don't know that I got it. I went and I was kind of look up the IMDB description just to have that handy for, making the episode descriptions when the time comes. And I guess I didn't put it together that she's still on the estate. That Mrs. Hughes has put her into one of the cottages on the estate that nobody's using, which is why it looks like it's so run down.
That's right.
But still that Mrs. Hughes knows where she is and can get to her, on a walk.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, okay, I got that. Now I was like, I guess I wasn't quite putting it all together. Like, how does Mrs. Hughes even know where she is? She's taking her food, like how she, she's getting on that bus type thing to go like, who knows how, obviously not that far.
Yeah. I think I would imagine a lot of the town and stuff is on the estate.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, that bus was gorgeous. I love those historical details in this show. Like, it was so cool. Like that open air, almost like convertible bus thing. I was like, that's so cool.
I need at some point, if I go to the UK, I need to go to the historic railway station because anytime they shoot on a train, there is like one station, maybe there are two, but there is one where they have like the historic train and the platform still looks the same. And I feel like anytime I watch something on PBS, it's like, they're going to the railway.
There they are. Yeah. Yeah. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Not much more to say about that, except,
Yeah.
Mrs. Hughes is breaking the rules.
Yes. And then also breaking the rules, or in terms of business going on downstairs, my note is stupid O'Brien breaks Mrs. Bates back.
Stupid O'Brien.
And then regrets it, creating a rift of a sort with Thomas.
Yeah,
and he seems to.
Yeah, for sure. As much as two people who don't really have any strong moral convictions could ever have an argument.
Yeah.
They do seem to fall out a little bit over the fact that she wrote to Bates's wife to say he's back.
Yeah.
He's back here. He's back with Anna. They're going to try to make it work. And then that draws her out of the woodwork, and she comes to Downton and says, hey,
I'm going to the papers.
Money. Wasn't enough. I'm not going to divorce you. I lied. And then, of course, it's the question is, like, if I hadn't come back to Anna, his original plan, like if he had stayed away until the divorce was final, would that have made a difference? And all she can say is like, well, we'll never know now. So it is kind of like, oh, maybe he was doing the right thing because he knew she was a conniving, horrible person. And that if she thought he would find happiness with her, she would ruin it.
Yeah.
And she does.
And she does. And she tries to get Carlisle. So Carlisle intercepts Mrs. Bates. She goes to his offices, and he manages to find a way to pay her for the story, but then he has the rights to it and refuses to publish it. Right. So she is paid, but the story is never going through, and the payment kind of shuts her up because she's sort of contractually obligated not to say anything anymore. And in some ways, in exchange for cleaning this up, Carlisle just goes ahead and prints news of his engagement to Mary.
Yep. Without
asking for her consent, without contacting Robert, just announces their engagement in the papers.
Yeah. And of course, Mary has to reveal to him her secret.
Yeah.
About what happened with Mr. Pamuk way back in episode 3.
Yeah.
So he is now in on the secret so that he could quash it, which he does.
Yeah. But he also sees it as a bargaining chip now.
Yeah. And of course, Vera is pissed and has the gall to actually storm back into his office and make the final threat that, like, you may have saved Lady Mary, but John Bates, I'm still coming after him.
Yeah. And so the episode ends with Mary, or near the end, Mary is warning Bates that she's delivered this threat. Carlisle has passed that along to Mary. And so Bates knows Vera may not be done with him.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and of course it's like this, we keep getting these little bits of like, Bates and Anna having like these dreams of their life together. They're walking in the church, and Bates is telling her she deserves a church wedding. And I love her response to that, which is, I'd rather have the right man than the right wedding.
Yeah. Good answer.
That's good insight from Loose Morals Anna.
I'm glad you remembered.
Well, it's her new nickname, Loose Morals Anna.
Again, I think you're the only one calling her.
Well, she's running around with a married man.
Yeah.
Ms. Jochman-Deepak. She is running around with a married man. Everybody knows it. Loose Morals Anna. She helped cover a dead man, like way back in episode 3. She was carrying a dead body.
Yeah.
And you know say what?
Loose Morals Anna, I say like ahead of her time, Anna.
Yeah. But she's also like a private investigator.
Yes.
And I think you need some loose morals sometimes in that business. So,
yeah.
Loose Morals Anna and Anna Bates investigates. It's all of a piece, I think.
You got to do what needs to be done.
She knows when to break the rules.
Yeah.
Loose Morals Anna.
Just rolls off the tongue, that nickname.
It does for me. It's maybe so far the best thing about this rewatch.
It's Loose Morals Anna.
I get to think of her in a whole new context, and it's fun.
Very good.
Fun for me. Yeah. Lots more to come with some of these storylines that are like being teased out here, but the next episode will make good on them. So
yes,
we can talk more about them then.
Yeah. So I think that brings us to some trivia.
Yes.
All right. Every episode, one host will challenge the other with a trivia question related to the Julian Fellowes property we're discussing that week. Could be about an actor, the production, the time period in which the story is set. The possibilities are endless. So first, let's take a listen to my answer from last week.
So in this episode, we have a lot of fear around the fact that Matthew and William have gone missing, which of course is something that happens a lot in war, especially at this point in time when cell phones were not a thing. And so a lot of young men from both sides went missing without ever really knowing what happened to them. Of course, it's presumed that they passed, and we simply don't know where their bodies are. There is a memorial to the missing soldiers of World War I. And so my question is about that memorial.
Okay.
What is the title given to the unidentified British serviceman buried in Westminster Abbey in 1920 to represent all missing soldiers of World War I?
Can you ask that question one more time?
Mm-hmm. What title is given to the unidentified British serviceman buried in Westminster Abbey in 1920 to represent all missing soldiers of World War I? What is the title?
I should know this because I saw this on Christmas Eve 2 years ago. I mean, my only guess is the unknown soldier, because that's what we call it in the States.
And that's very close.
Okay.
They call it the unknown warrior. So yes, in the U.S., our tribute is the unknown soldier. There it is the unknown warrior.
Okay. Listeners, did you get it right? Follow us on Instagram at Strange Bedfellows. That's fellows with an ES, where we will be posting the trivia question each week. So this week, I have a trivia question for Kirt.
I love it. I get so excited about this every single time.
All right.
Even though I have a terrible track record.
I don't know. This could be the turning point. Let's see.
Well, now we've set that up.
All right. The Battle of Amiens, in which Matthew and William were injured, began on August 8th, 1918. And it marked the beginning of a campaign, an Allied campaign that would, by November 11th, 1918, end World War I. This series of attacks would eventually be called the Blank Days Offensive, which was named for its approximate span of time. Tune into next week's episode to find out if Kirt got it right. And if you think you know the answer, find next week's question over on Instagram and put your answer in the comments.
This has been another episode of Strange Bedfellows. You've heard our thoughts, and now we want to hear yours.
The best way to get in touch with us is on Instagram. That's at Strange Bedfellows with an ES in Fellows, or email us at strangebedfellows@gmail.com. You can also find our personal social media links in the show notes.
If you would be so kind, please rate and review the show wherever you're listening to us right now, and subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes.
Thanks for listening.
Ta.